Gotta keep on breathing if you wanna make sense of it all. We will not fall.
So we're actually going to start lying down on our backs. Oh, what a nice release after a Monday, whatever Monday was for you. So you can take any posture on your back here. You might wish to just be in full Shavasana with the legs all the way along the mat and the arms out to the side. You may wish to take a restorative rest pose with the knees bent and the soles of the feet on the floor, letting the knees just gently rock in towards one another. Or you may like to take a butterfly. All options, of course, and it's just how you feel. Just take these moments to just find a steady rhythmic breath. Breathing in and out of the nostrils. The lips are lightly closed. The teeth and the jaw are soft and relaxed. There's no tension in the back of the jaw. And starting to connect to your physical presence as you take up the space on your mat. So as we've just finished our last week of the elements of space, this practice brings all of the elements together. So we are returning to a few of our favorite postures of earth, water, fire, air, and space. So we'll probably have a couple of postures within each element. So just maybe taking a moment to remind yourself, as we're at the end of the month, remind yourself of the beginning of the month. And see how you now feel physically, emotionally, mentally after a month of elements, and how we can use those elements within our daily life to support us. And beginning to create some space within the mind, just clearing any thoughts, any distractions, becoming present with your physical body and your breath. And at any point through the practice, if you notice that the mind wanders, just return back, focusing that dharana, that concentration onto your breathing. Maybe you would like to invite an intention or a sankalpa for your own practice today. There is no theme other than that we are combining all of the month's work together, bringing it all as one. So whatever you feel you need to support you as an intention, whatever resonates with you particularly. Let's take our Dirga Swasam 3-part yogic breath, placing the left hand onto the heart space, nice and relaxed there. Relax the elbow down, and the right hand comes softly just below the navel to the lower belly. Again, relax the elbows down by the side of you so that you're not supporting the arms in any way. You can choose your posture again here whilst you take this Dirga Swasam. So 3-part yogic breath is the 3 parts of the abdomen, breathing in, the diaphragm and the chest. And then as you exhale, letting the chest relax, diaphragm return, and the belly deflate. So breathing in, belly rises, diaphragm draws down, lungs fill. Exhale, lungs release the air, diaphragm returns underneath the rib cage, and the belly softens. Breathing in, belly, diaphragm, lungs. Breathing out, lungs, diaphragm, belly. Breathing in, up the body, 3 parts. All nice and smooth breath all the way to the top. And then exhaling, letting everything soften and release. Let's take a few more at your own pace of breath, trying to lengthen the breath as much as comfortable. And taking a last round, breathing in and breathing out, completing that round, releasing the hands from the body and just breathing normally, returning to your steady, equal Samavriti breath. And just noticing from Dirga Swasam, that 3-part yogic breath, how that really solidifies your breath for practice, brings you into the present. And bring some gentle and soft movement now to the hands, to the feet. Letting the head just drop from side to side on the back of the skull. Gently drawing the knees in towards the chest, nice and lightly here. Nothing has to be too forced. Giving yourself a little bit of a roll out through the spine. And rolling over to one side, we're going to start with the earth element and our butterfly pose. So you can, of course, sit on a bolster or sit on a block if that feels a little bit more comfortable for you to do so. Keeping the spine nice and tall, relax the shoulders, and then just gently drop the chin towards the chest as you start to roll down through the spine, letting the head drop towards the heels. We're going to start to pull the navel back towards the spine. So you're scooping out in the front body. And just notice if you've lifted the shoulders up towards the ears, you can relax those down. Make sure that you're comfortable with your chosen butterfly. We're going to be here for a few minutes. So this is your grounding earth element. Feel connected to the pelvic floor, the root, Muladhara chakra. With each exhale, you feel yourself getting deeper into the fold, into the posture, releasing tightness, tension anywhere that it feels for you. Where are your target areas here? Really observing sensation as you hold the posture. Continue to relax the head a little bit further. Relaxing crown down to the heels. Navel is still pulling back to the spine gently, not forcefully, and you're relaxing through the hips and the pelvic floor. Slowly, keeping the chin towards the chest, pulling the belly back so that you can start to roll up through the spine. Taking time to get there as you unravel each vertebra. Bringing the shoulders back up in line with the hips as you sit nice and tall, softening through the shoulders. Finally, the head rises and the crown of the head reaches up towards the sky. And then lifting the knees, widening the feet just a little bit so that you can release the knees over right and left. Windscreen wiper them out to the side. And last time over right and left. And our next and second posture for the earth element is our squat or malasana. So of course, you can use the block to sit on, or if you feel that you would like to hold malasana for these 3 minutes, you can drop the hips between the heels. Just make sure that you give yourself a little bit of wiggle room, trying not to go to the deepest point first of all, letting gravity take you there. Hands can come into the heart center. And with malasana as well, the wrists are getting a flexion stretch here when the palms are together. So the elbows just come to the inner sides of the knees. And the spine is long. Close the eyes if you can. Find that stability and balance. And feel that the pelvic floor is completely relaxed, letting itself release to the mat. And as we remind ourselves of the earth element, the ability to feel grounded, balanced, and stable, not just on our mat, but also in our daily lives when we feel, things have just upset the balance, like upset the kilter a bit. Keep the chest nice and open. Try not to cave the shoulders forward. Spine is long. And just feel everything about the posture for you. Everybody's malasana or squat is going to be different. Doing absolutely great there. Just a few more breaths. Long, slow, deep inhales and exhales. And release the hands. Lift the hips up. And just gently heel toe the feet into parallel. Bend the knees. And you can rest the elbows on the thighs if you need to keep the head in line with the heart. Or you can just sway from side to side, release into the feet and the ankles as much as you need. Maybe taking a ragdoll, swaying from side to side. So feel grounded through the feet here, wherever you are, whether it's elbows on the knees and keeping the head in line with the heart, or you're in that ragdoll pose, just lift the toes a little bit, give them a wiggle, make sure that you feel that they're not gripping in any way. Then you can relax the hands down and bring the knees down. Come back to a wide kneel. Take the knees to the outer edge. Just come off the wrists for a moment and circle the wrists after the Malasana squat. I'm going to come into the water element. So water element is, our sacral chakra, very much for creativity and fluidity, and also a little bit of sensuality here. So it's really connecting in towards our hips. So coming into your tabletop position, start to sway the hips from side to side. This one's going to be a little bit more of movement rather than holding. So you can start to introduce the head and the neck if you like. Close the eyes. Find free movement, whatever feels good as you just shift from side to side, a little S-bend in the spine. Then you might start to introduce some circles forward and back. So bringing the hips towards the wrists and the hips back towards the heels. And that might become deeper and return back hips to heels in a child's pose and circle forward. And circle the other way. If you need to at any point come off of those wrists, please do. Feel that you are controlling the movement with the breath. So as you go back to child's pose, you're breathing out. And as you come forward, you are breathing in. Coming into stillness and find your cat and cow here. So again, breath-led spinal movement, dropping the belly, lifting the tailbone, opening the chest, exhaling, rounding into cat. Closing the eyes, flowing with the breath, moving at your own pace. Feeling everything through the spine. Last time, come back into neutral, widen the knees, and then bring the toes together. And just come back into a wide-legged child's pose, release to the elbows, and see if you can connect the palms and bring the thumbs just to the nape of the neck as you rest the head down either on a block or to the mat. So the fingertips are starting to point down the spine towards the sacrum. The sacrum is nice and flat to the sky. You're relaxing the hips as much as you can to the heels. Releasing off of the wrists, bring the hands down, palms face up, and then just roll the wrists over, palms face down, palms face up. Just giving a little bit of love to the hands, the wrists. You can extend and flex and wiggle the fingers and circle before we come into our dragon and half monkeys. Still with the water element, again, that fluidity, creativity, sacral region. And you can use the blocks here should you need those. And of course, your bolster might wish to go underneath the thigh. I'm going to bring the blocks forward. Let me change sides. So, blocks can be on any of the levels. Right leg comes forward. And just drop the hips, releasing into dragon. Give yourself a little bit of shimmy, right and left. And here again, it's free movement. So you can start to open up the knee, coming onto the outer edge of the right front foot. And then start pulling back into half monkey, half splits, lifting the front toes, giving that hamstring a little stretch, not coming back too far. So you're not bringing the hips to the heel, but you're keeping the hips in line with the knee. This is an opportunity just to come up onto the fingertips, releasing off the wrist. Drop forwards, side to side. Maybe some circles. Then pulling back, half monkey. So in your half monkey position, you're bending at the hips rather than bending at the waist, and you have a nice long spine. Last time, let's come forward and we're going to stay and hold. You can come down onto the forearms if you like. Get the belly on the inside of that right thigh. Making sure that your ankle is nicely underneath the knee. You're not compressing too much in the ankle or the knee there. You've got nice space. And here, just make sure that the shoulders aren't creeping up towards the ears. The shoulders are drawing down the back. You're relaxing the head and the neck, maybe down towards the blocks or the hands. You're really allowing gravity to press down the hips and the pelvis towards the mat. So still very much a grounding posture, but we are definitely working with the sacral and the water element. And then pulling yourself back, coming into your half monkey for your hold. So this time, bring the blocks on either side of your front right leg, and the front right heel goes into the center. So fold from the hips so that you create that space, nice long spine, pressing the chest down over towards the calf, turning the toes up towards the sky. You can always bend into that right knee. Keep the shoulders away from the ears. Let the head relax to the knee. Breathing out. Letting go of tightness and tension here as you hold the pose and find that stillness. You may already be at your edge. Releasing the hands to the blocks, lifting the body. And just slowly pull that right leg back. Take a moment before we go to the other side. Left leg comes forward. Blocks are on the inside. You can use the bolster underneath the right thigh to support as well. And again, just rocking forwards, backwards, sideways, a few little circles. Feel the freedom in your own hips. Gently pull back. Half splits, exhale. And rocking forwards. Pulling back, half monkey, lifting the toes of the left foot. Coming forward, this is where we hold. So make sure you've got your prime position. Maybe coming down again onto the forearms on the blocks or to the mat. Dropping hips and pelvis as much as you can throughout the hold. Feeling that you are allowing them to release to gravity rather than keep them held up. Always being able to feel something. Slowly to pull back. Bring the hands back onto the blocks. Bring the blocks back with you. Wiggle that left foot into the center of your mat. Turn the toes up towards the sky. Bend the knee of that left leg if you need. And fold from the hips. Nice length in the spine as you bring the chest down towards the knee and the shin. Letting the head relax towards the knee. So just being aware of those two postures working together, working with hand in hand, as it were, for hamstrings, hip flexors. And slowly coming out, bringing the hands back to the blocks. Drawing that left leg back. Just swaying out a little bit. Well done. So that's our water element. We now move to our fire element. So we're going to come down to a prone posture on our bellies. And just drop the belly down. Relax the torso, relax the spine. Let everything soften here after what may have felt a little bit challenging in the dragon and the half monkey. So our lying chest opener. Options of your left arm going out to the side. You can have it in a half cactus. So that's basically with a bend at the elbow with the palm face down. You can have it out to the side in line with your shoulders. I'll show you that way actually. So we'll start with the left part. So it's either half cactus out to the side or a little bit further down towards the hip. So we're going to use the left arm first, and we're going to roll over onto the left hip. And if that's too much with the half cactus, move to the straight arm variation, and maybe the right leg lifts up and you can rest the toe back behind you. The right hand supports you. And just find that breath. Notice where tightness may come. Breathe into those tight areas. If it's too much with the leg lifted, you can always lower the leg and just work with both knees together. The ear is down to the ground. You're really lying on your chest. If it's too much in the half cactus, take the arm out to the side, shoulder height, flat down. That's it. Yeah, perfect, Monica. Slowly bring the leg back, close the knees, roll back onto the belly, and just place the right hand underneath the forehead and bring the left arm back to the hip with the palm face up. Soften there. Noticing how it feels to come out of the posture as much as being in the posture. You may have found some challenge with the half cactus arms. So choosing the option on the opposite side. So right arm either in your cactus, straight out, or a little bit down towards the hip. You're going to roll onto your right side. Ear to the ground. You might keep the legs together. Or you might take the left leg over. And just notice here, from right to left, which side is most tight? Where do you feel the tightness? Where does it come? Try and enjoy the process of finding out and exploring what postures feel like for you. Not every posture suits every body. And the reason why this is within the fire element is that it does create a little bit of heat, a little bit of warmth, but also a little bit of challenge. So sometimes you have to dig deep, find the inner strength for a posture. And just rolling yourself back. Bring the head to the left hand or turn to the cheek. Bring the right hand by the hip, palm face up. Soften through that right shoulder, right side of the chest. And from where you are, you can simply turn over onto your back. You don't have to turn around to face the screen or anything like that. We're just simply going into a lying spinal twist from here, so you can use your bolster. We're going to roll onto our left hip first of all, bring our right knee across onto the bolster. You don't have to use the bolster, of course. You might just wish to take the knee down towards the mat, but opening up through the torso, getting the belly free of the right thigh. And the arms might be in cactus here, palms face up, or they might be out straight. And you're trying to draw the right shoulder blade down as much as the left, relaxing through the shoulders. If you're using the bolster, make sure that the whole of the leg, knee, and foot are supported. So lying spinal twist really starts to target into the digestive organs for nourishment, sending blood flow, but also into the spine, so into the core of the body, the sides of the body with the rotation here. So your fire element sits within the Manipura chakra, just around the solar plexus, just near the navel. That's where our inner fire begins. Noticing where your target areas are. Maybe you feel it through the spine. Maybe you feel it through the outer right hip into the glutes. Try and soften muscle groups. Breathing in, rolling back into center. And just take the arms down by the side of the hips, realign the pelvis, palms face down. Just let the knees rock in towards one another nice and gently so that all that blood flow goes into all of the digestive organs there as you come out of the rotation. Switching the bolster to the other side of your mat if you used it. Rolling onto the right hip, left leg, completely on top of your bolster, knee and ankle. And opening up the arms as you did on the other side, choosing the option of cactus or the arms are straight. Opening up the chest towards the sky as much as is comfortable to you. And trying to anchor through the left shoulder. Relaxing and releasing into the twist. Softening all muscle groups around the hips, around the buttocks. Remembering the underneath hip and buttock, not just the top leg. Last few breaths here within the fire element postures. And then releasing that top leg back into the center. Release the arms down by the side of you, palms face down, and just come back into that restorative rest pose. Feet wide, knees together. Let all that blood flow to the organs. So this is an all body sequence. So we're still continuing to move up the body into the chest and upper body. We're coming into the air element next. So you can whizzle yourself back over onto your belly. don't need to change ends. And we're going to take our Sphinx pose, coming up into the heart. So air is obviously very intrinsic to the heart functioning of the chakra heart, the energy heart, and the physical heart. So maybe you choose to widen the feet a little bit. More challenge is bringing the feet together, but try to keep all 10 toes connected. Opening up the chest, pressing away from the mat through the palms, the forearms, and the elbows, trying not to drop the chest or drop the ears towards the shoulders. Close the eyes. Neck is soft and long. Drop the belly. Drop the hips. Breathe deep into the chest, the lungs, front, back, and sides of your rib cage. Get in as much air as you can here. And just widening the elbows as you roll down through the rib cage, bringing the head to the back of the hands, bring big toes to touch, sway out, let go. Everything as you relax. One more air element posture. Press yourself back through tabletop. Maybe you do a round of cat and cow. Whilst you're there, just to see the mobilization through the spine. Hopefully much improved since you began. And just bring yourself back to kneeling, sitting nice and tall, thunderbolt position. So the heels are underneath the buttocks. If that's comfortable for you, you can always sit on a bolster here as well. We're just going to come into a camel pose just for 1 minute hold. So your camel pose can be any variation. Maybe you like to use the blocks by the side of your heels, or maybe you just simply come up into a high kneel and you just bring your hands to support your spine. Roll the shoulders back and down. Keep the elbows in towards the torso. Open the chest, and maybe the gaze looks towards the sky or forward. And take these deep breaths here. Try and find the breath, because when we're in a camel pose, you may not find that breath so easily. Keep breathing, keep working with the posture, relax the facial expression, keep lifting out of the lower back rather than compressing into the lower lumbar section. A few more breaths. And then bring yourself up to center carefully and slowly. Drop down to Thunderbolt, kneeling. Take a rest. Our last element of space will be on our backs. So if you are close by a wall, it is legs up against the wall. And you can, of course, use a blanket underneath the hips, or maybe you like to use a bolster underneath the hips. I'm going to go with the bolster option. Let's move my mat a little bit. So I've got to take my feet up against me loft wall. So bolster underneath the hips if that feels good. Remember, this is an inversion because it is a supported shoulder stand or legs up against the wall for reasons that they just relax there. You're not holding the legs in place. So make sure that the neck is long. You are opening up the throat here. You're not dipping the chin towards the chest. And you can take the arms out to the side. Spread the shoulder blades. Close the eyes. Take the focus internally up towards the toes. And just let all of the weight from the legs drop down into your hips and your pelvis. And as we come up to the space element, that works with the three higher chakras of the throat, the third eye, and the crown. So everything is all in towards the head for focus, for concentration, for clarity. Creating space in the mind and in the body. This posture will bring a lot of blood into the torso itself and also into the head. So if you feel that it's becoming a little bit too much, just roll over to one side, take the legs down. If you feel comfortable, we'll stay for another 10 or 12 breaths, just about a minute. And starting to think about coming out of the inversion, however that is for you, just rolling onto one side, taking away the prop if you had that one, and just bringing yourself down onto the mat. Just feeling the body in complete neutrality of Shavasana for a moment. Last posture for our space element is our supported fish. So you can, of course, use your most comfortable option of your bolster. I'm going to go with the 2 blocks. So if you're using the blocks, one is on the highest level at the back for the head, and the other one centers down the spine. We want a little bit of space there just between the sacrum and the block. And if you're using the bolster, you might wish to place a block to support the head on top of the bolster. Options of legs out to the side or butterfly. This is your final posture before we come into Shavasana and final relaxation. So this is your real end point to the practice of the elements with space. And as you lie here, just visualize yourself from above, how much space you are taking up on your mat, up on your floor. And think about how much space that you have created and you have found for yourself throughout the practice today, but also for the past month, of all 5 elements coming together for an all-over body sequence today. Working from right down at our root all the way to the crown, from the earth, through water, fire, air, and now finally space. Taking a deeper breath in, sighing out that breath with an open mouth, relaxing everything through the body, wiggling the fingers. If you chose butterfly legs, lift the thighs together, soles of the feet come down, press up through the elbows, lifting the head, looking along the body, and then come off of your props, nice and steady. And as you come down to take a moment in Shavasana just before we come into relaxation, just feel what it's like now to lie there without anything supporting you. Preparing the mind and your body for your final relaxation in Shavasana, making yourself warm, comfortable, using the bolster underneath the knees if you like, maybe a block or a pillow or a blanket underneath the head. Not allowing the body to become cold after practice. Not allowing the mind to be worried about temperature. Or how you're lying there. So choose the most comfortable option that you can now hold for a few minutes. And I will give you this space to just be with yourself. Try to remain present. If the mind wanders, return back to your breathing. Return back to your physical presence as you lie there on the mat. And enjoy the Shavasana to close the month of the elements. Taking a deeper breath in, sighing out your breath. Start to bring your awareness back to your surroundings and to your body. Wiggling the fingers, moving the wrists, wiggling toes, moving the ankles. Choosing to stretch or to draw the knees in. And taking time, just rolling over to one side and just pausing momentarily there. Gently pressing yourself up back into a comfortable seat. Bringing the hands into the heart center. Anjali Mudra. Sitting nice and tall, and just take note of how you feel physically, mentally, emotionally. Feel the spine. Soften any remaining tightness. And just recall any intentional sankalpa that you held for practice today. And thank your body, your breath, and the elements today for your practice. And I thank you. Namaste.